Hey, everybody, I'm Leon Thomas, and welcome to another episode of Real Thoughts and Conversations. We come on periodically to talk about hot topics, pressing issues right here on Real Thoughts and Conversations. And tonight we're not going to talk about just one topic, we're not going to talk about two, we're going to talk about three Supreme Court rulings from last week. Again, I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. You can learn more about us and the work that we do by going to the leonthomasgroup.com. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about three recent Supreme Court rulings, one that effectively takes away affirmative action, one about student loan forgiveness, and the other regarding the case of the same sex couple that wanted a web designer to do some work for them. We have a great panel lined up for discussions. And what I want to do is bring each panelist on one by one. And panelists, tell us whatever you would like the audience to know about you. Now, keep this in mind. Any views that are expressed here tonight on Real Thoughts and Conversations represent those of the guest, not any employer of theirs, not the Leon Thomas Group, not any school or institution that they might attend or work for. These are all personal views. Let's start with Charlie Rouse. Let's bring Charlie on. Hey, Charlie, good evening. Thanks for joining us today. How are you? And Charlie, it looks like you are muted. Maybe we can hear you now. And Charlie, it's still muted. What's happening here with Charlie's sound? Let's take Charlie away. Let's go to Oren. Hey, Oren, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well, Leon. How are you?
I'm good. Tell us about you, Oren. Anything you want the audience to know. Not about the decisions. We're not there yet. Just tell us about you. Go ahead.
Not much I want anybody to know about me other than I'm a man on a journey, Christian man on a journey, still growing and learning each and every day about how to follow my Lord and Savior, man. That's who I am. Everything else comes out in time. I'll just say that much.
All right. So that's all you want us to know.
That's all I want you
right
all to
now.
know. Yeah.
All right. Let's go. All right. Great. Thank you, Oren. Let's go to Marlene Harvey. Good evening, Marlene. Thanks for being with us again. Tell us everything you want the audience to know about you.
Hello, everyone. I live in a small town. I live in a military town, actually, Edgewood Arsenal, Aberdeen Proving Ground. You've probably all heard of those. We're a very diverse group of people. I've been had the same job for the last 37 years, thinking about retiring soon. And I am a political junkie. I'm the one that stays in front of the TV and yells at everybody and, very opinionated. And that's who I am.
All right, Marlene, thank you. Let's go to Aaron Lysick. Hey, Aaron, good to see you again. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Leon. So my name is Aaron Lysick. I graduated law school here in the past just May. I'm currently studying for the bar, so you're going to have to forgive us. This process is very taxing. It's like we're in a brain. It's hard and I don't have a lot of words. So please forgive me. And my other disclosure is that this evening, I do have two other law students here in the background to help me out, which is great. And we did spend some of the evening studying con law today, constitutional law. We call it con law in law school. And I hope that I can shed some light from some of the information that I've learned over the past 3 years. The other part is I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I feel like I'm a very diverse person. I have friends from all over the place. And I love to promote diversity. So that's what I have to say today.
All right, right on. Thanks for being with us. And let's go to Charlie Rouse. Hey, Charlie.
Can you hear me now?
We can, yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm Charlie Rouse. Leon and I have known each other for quite some time through work, but I am a big social justice junkie, and I've spent from the time I came out in 1998 to the present being involved in LGBT and civil rights activism, namely in the realms of free speech and equal protection. I too yell at the television. I'm an MSNBC fan. I spend more time on that than watching any kind of sports. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking about civil rights and how the court has impacted us this year.
All right, great. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, everyone, for being with us for this episode of Real Thoughts and Conversations. I'm not going to tell you that we drew our hats and we put names in a hat or anything like to decide who would go first and what topic would go first. We're just going to go like this. Charlie, you're on the screen. You
Okay.
get to talk first. Tell us what your thoughts are about the Supreme Court decision that effectively takes away affirmative action. What do you think about that, Charlie?
I think that what we've ended up in is a situation where, when decisions like this always have unintended consequences. First, it's just plain wrong. I think that students are not given equal shake in college admissions, especially in the higher tier schools. I think that ending those programs is detrimental, not just to places like, Marshall University, where I went to, or University of Maryland, but you're talking about Yale, Princeton, Harvard. These are places where, systemic racism still exists, whether they like to admit it or not. And I think that affirmative action levels the playing field for people. And and without that, I'm really worried what we'll see from the future of higher education. I also think, it opens the door for what are they going to do next? Are they going to come after Title IX for colleges and universities? So that's on my mind. Obviously, I think that the decisions are way off base, and I think the ideological shift on the court has really shown itself.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Charlie. Let's go to Marlene. Marlene, tell us, what do you think about that ruling on affirmative action? This was at University of North Carolina and at Harvard University. Marlene, go ahead.
It really made me think. When I think of affirmative action, and I, like a lot of people, I think of a Black person getting a job that normally white people would get. However, my concern now is, how far does this go? Jane Miller, who retired from WJZ TV, I think last year. Anyway, she has a radio show that comes on Saturday. And she said that she got her first job on a TV show in the 70s, and she benefited from affirmative action. So it gives you something to think about, because we always just think of Black people getting into college, or maybe the token Black person who sits out in front of a business and they're the receptionist or something. But this really gives us pause to think about how far this will actually go.
All right. Let's go to Oren. Oren, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know me, Leon. When it comes to this, and I want to say, following on our conversation the other day, I personally don't have a problem with it, man. It's not something that rises up anything in me. I always look forward to see how things play themselves out. I think a lot of times we get caught up in so much of what has happened before versus living in the present. I think it shows itself to be something that it's change. Life is forever changing. Life isn't fair. I think a lot of times we have to grow to realize that life has never been fair, but we play the hand that we've been dealt. So I'll just kind of start off by saying, I'm not moved by anything. You, for the most part, brought me back to a place of even having to remember all of what it is that's going on, and what it is and why it is that we had it in place before. So me personally, my stance is, I'm just looking forward to seeing how it all plays out.
So you don't have I like the decision or I don't like the decision.
I don't have a feeling one way or another. I'm not moved by it. I like to see how things play themselves out, see how people respond. I'm a very, very big cause and effect person. So to me, let's see what people do with what is now. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. How will we respond?
Okay. All right. Aaron, go ahead. Let's bring Aaron on for this. Aaron, what are your thoughts about it?
All right. I don't know how many minutes I have, but we need to first talk. I don't know if everyone understands what affirmative action really is. and how it's used. And so, first of all, I would like to say that right here in our, that's now outdated, by the way. So programs, in order to get affirmative action, it's not just because, oh, this guy's black, so you're in. That's not how it works. Affirmative action the race could never be a determining factor. And it could only be one factor used in a whole bunch of factors. So like when you go to college, you submit an essay and you have grades and you played sports and you were absent, and all of those things play one factor for you to get into school. And so in order for you to use affirmative action, you have to actually display a history of past discrimination. So your particular thing so your school has to say, okay, well, we have a history of discriminating against people, and we are using this program to fix that. And now that is over. So what has happened, and what my opinion is, that we would love the country to do the amazing right things. Since George Floyd happened, we're now discovering the world has issues. More people know that the world has issues with race, but I don't think that we understand how it plays into the government and laws, and how our government and laws are currently stacked against minorities. And everyone would love everyone to do the right thing, have a diverse workforce, have a diverse school. The fact is, it's not. It's not. And it hasn't been corrected yet. And we needed this system in order to correct this. Because again, if the employers and everyone would just do what they're supposed to do, that's nice, we wouldn't have any of these laws. It's been established that we need these laws to protect minorities and people. And that's it.
All right. Now I'm going to add something onto the question, and Aaron, let's come to you first for this one. What about those who say that for these particular cases, as I understand it, these were Asian students at both the University of North Carolina and at Harvard University, and the Asian students were saying that the black students were taking admission spots from them. And I've read some comments from folks that said, well, what about the white legacy families who receive spots also? And also, another point to this was, will this carry over to other areas? Will it carry over to workplace? Will it carry over to other institutions, other jobs, other institutions in our country that are not academic? But think about the workplace. Think about home ownership. Would that and mortgage lending, could this ruling begin to affect other areas? Aaron, what do you think about that?
My other two law school students were like, this is a good question, right? So again, some of the understanding that how our laws work are just people don't get it. So I don't think this would apply. Affirmative action doesn't apply to private entities, does it? Like, you can't make a private entity have a diversity program. So and also, just in the beginning of your statement, the Asian students are minorities.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the same factor as the African American student. So they're literally on the same immediate playing field. They have the same factor. I don't see how that plays out.
I'm going to give you a second to get some information from them. Go ahead.
Right. So are you afraid that what you're saying is people are going to take the ruling and just run with it and wipe it out? And yes, I fear that.
Yeah. That's what some of the folks that I've been hearing from on social media and through email and texting. That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Like, we come from the hotel industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if OSHA suddenly said we don't need to worry about that anymore? What do you think workplaces are going to do?
Right. Well,
so that's how I see it happening.
Okay.
But I do think, I want to point this out, I think the good schools in the honest schools, I'm hoping, like, I have faith. I think that they're just going to continue to do the right thing. And
Okay.
I believe it's very unclear. So that's what we can talk about too, is this ruling that I've not had a really long chance to look at, from my understanding, has very ambiguous language about what they're trying to do. So they haven't even really defined what the new standard is. So
Okay.
that's an interesting take.
All right. Let's move on to someone else here. Oren, what do you think? Do you think affirmative action will this ruling will affect other parts, other areas in our lives, other um, places of business? Will it affect banking and anything else? What do you think, Oren?
I think it can, right? But I want to just touch on something Erin said, and hopefully I quote her correctly, or at least kind of come behind what she said. I agree. You know, we don't know yet what will come out of this, right? So I think sometimes we get so up in arms and we get so spastic when change happens, and we because we have feelings and we have emotions, we're moved sometimes to feel some type of way about it. But I'm not as informed in its entirety, similar to what Aaron was saying with everything that's going on. Leon, I'm grateful that you brought me on tonight, because we can definitely talk about some of these touchy subjects. But when it comes to this, I look forward to seeing how this transpires. Kind of back to my point before, I don't feel any type of way about it. Do I feel as though it could kind of bleed into other areas? Yes, but we shall see. I think we'll get a change. I think the world is moving in such an interesting direction, period. Right. So looking forward to seeing what comes from this. I think more of us have to just continue to become more educated and more aware of where we are, as just the human race in general, and decide what part will we play, and provide from a contribution standpoint to however this situation plays out.
Hmm. Marlene, you're up next. What do you think, Marlene? Will this bleed in other areas of society?
I think it's a harbinger of what's to come. I mean, how far are we going to take this? I mean, like you said, banking, business, um, maybe high schools, maybe schools with vouchers. I mean, we don't know really how far they're going to take it. We have a conservative court. It's going to be conservative for a while to come, and I think it's just I think people are emboldened. So I worry. I worry that maybe we're going backwards instead of forward.
All right. Charlie, what do you think? Is this going to go into other areas of society other than just education? What do you think, Charlie?
I don't see how it doesn't. And I agree with Marlene. This is a real slippery slope. In 1978, the Supreme Court, in California v. Bakke, ruled that the use of a racial quota was unconstitutional, but they gave leeway to allow affirmative action practices to accept more minority applicants was constitutional. It was in some circumstances. So my real worry is, how does that impact the Bakke decision? And then, where else? I mean, do you lose the right to sue as a student if you feel you've been discriminated against? And the new standard I worry about would be so vague. It would be hard for a student to make a bias claim or to sue to get admitted into college. So I'm really worried about that. I think it will flow over, because when you have opinions like this, you, for lack of a better term, bigots, get a little empowered, and they will try in wherever they can to make their feelings known and impact. I think you look at banking lending practices. Maybe we see the return of redlining, which would be devastating in my mind. I mean, I think they're trying to gut things, and it's also like Aaron said, it's so vague. Where are we heading to this? But I don't see how it doesn't impact other things.
Hmm. Okay. All right. You're watching Real Thoughts and Conversations. We're here with Oren Stewart. We're here with Charlie Rouse, Marlene Harvey, and Aaron Lysek. We're talking about some recent Supreme Court decisions and how they may impact a lot of us in a lot of ways. We're here periodically we come on with this show. There's been some requests to bring it on every Wednesday at 9:05. We'll figure that out. Maybe we will if we can get guests, if we could get our panelists to commit to showing up at 9:05 or at 9:10. I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll figure out a way we could make the show happen. Let's move on to the next subject. Now, as I understand it, this case regarding the same-sex couple, they wanted a web designer to design a web page regarding about their wedding. And the web designer said, "I'm not doing it because it's same-sex marriage and I'm not going to do it. I don't believe in it." And the court said, "All right, fine. You don't have to do that." All right, here's where we're going to go in this round. Oren, you're first. Charlie second. Aaron number 3. Marlene, you're fourth. Oren, what do you think? Did the Supreme Court get it right? Oren, what do you say?
I think they did get it right. I think that a business owner should be able to have the opinion to decide to do business with who they want to. You know me, man. I'm old school, although I'm young. I think that the days and times of where people, when it's something that is theirs, they should be able to do with what is theirs the way they want to. I think sometimes we get too much into thinking that we have a right when we can take our business elsewhere. You know, Leon, I've said to you before, I don't want anybody to accept me because of whatever it is that maybe I feel as though that they should. I'm okay with you not liking me. I'm okay with you disagreeing with me. I'm okay with you not wanting my business. I can take it elsewhere, you know. So that's just kind of my stance within that. You know, that's just me. You know, I understand we live in a day and time where everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants for you to let them be them and do them. But I think that it's okay to say no. I don't have to. I don't want to. So for me, I don't have a problem with it, man. When you shared it with me the other day, I said, Now
I want to be clear on your position, though.
Yes,
you're saying that you agree with what the Supreme Court said.
Yes, repeat it again so I can understand the fact that they did not hold the company accountable for deciding not to do business.
Yes.
Yes, I think it was okay.
You're saying that that's okay. All right. I think we said we're going to Charlie second on this one. Charlie, go ahead. What do you think?
Well, you know, it's disheartening. I recently became engaged, and you know, Sunday morning I'm looking for gay wedding venues, and all I see is this stuff about, you know, a marriage website being, you know, and the case when you break it down, this is a First Amendment case claim that they're making. You know, it's not, but the slippery slope is, how does it now move into public accommodation? Because a website is different than a restaurant. It is different than a venue. But in the eyes of the law, it is. But I don't feel that way. I feel that it's all the same personally. And, you know, I live in Delaware, and it's a very, very lovely place where I feel safe. But I grew up in southern West Virginia, where if Chris and I were in downtown Charleston, I would worry if he held my hand. If I walk down the street in Wilmington holding Chris's hand, people don't even look at us. It's just fine. It's like whatever. And again, like I said earlier, when the bigots are emboldened, stuff starts happening. Mm-hmm. And I think that this again will move into that. And you know, it is important to talk about the First Amendment and the rights of business to refuse or deny service to anybody. Mm-hmm. Where it gets bad is, am I going to be barred from the lunch counter next?
Okay.
Am I?
So you're saying you don't agree with what the Supreme Court did. You disagree.
I disagree with it because it is somebody providing a public service. Now, where I do agree with it is, I don't think somebody should have to publish something against their beliefs, but that's in their private lives. Now, this is a business. So, I mean, do you accommodate everybody regardless of your own feeling? Okay. Now, one thing, and then I'll be quiet. Now, the other thing that's being talked about now is the possibility that the documents presented in the case came from a fake complainant, meaning there was they made up the paperwork. You can see it, read it in the New York Times. It was posted about 6:52 p.m. today. Mm-hmm. But the man mentioned in the complaint is straight and married to a woman. So is this did this plaintiff, did she perjure herself now?
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Okay.
there's a lot of things around this. And again, another void for
All right.
vagueness kind of thing. Anyway,
Okay.
moving along.
Another point to the case. Now, who did I say was next? Was this Marlene or Aaron? I lost my count
It's
here.
my turn.
It's Aaron's turn. And we're in this shot, and I've been reading body language and all. I've been reading this. And if Aaron, before you go, Turner Joy, you offered a comment here that says you totally agree, you totally disagree with the first guest. Turner Joy, if you could come back in and comment again, you disagree with who about what? So you disagree with Oren? Raise your hands as I call on you. Oren, Marlene, Charlie, or Aaron about what? So then we can actually have some conversation around that. All right, go ahead, Aaron.
There's a few things that I want to touch on. First, I want to touch on, I truly believe that that is the thing that he just brought up about this is all fake. That's actually a substantial legal problem. And the lawyer that brought this claim has the duty to do reasonable inspection. If he didn't do reasonable inspection on this case, it's a frivolous case. Unfortunately, though, we're at the Supreme Court level now. So I don't think anything happens, but I believe that the lawyer that knowingly brought this case that was bullshit should be subject to Rule 11 sanctions. Now moving along, websites are public accommodation. That's actually already been established. Websites have to afford to ADA. So if you are selling something on a website, someone blind better be able to hook their device in and figure out your website. If you have click-through programs, someone that's blind or deaf or whatever needs to be able to hook their iPad up and their device and work with your program, or you're violating the ADA. Websites are absolutely a public forum. Now, I want to specifically ask, what happens if we go back to the Green Book? The Green Book. The Green Book is what African Americans had to hold to travel around the country to determine where they could stay at a hotel. Because now, according to the other gentleman guest, I don't need to service you. And if I have 20 hotels in the area that don't need to service you, where are you spending the night? So when the bigots get emboldened in the middle of wherever their town is, where is someone going to get their service provided? And I do have an issue, and I agree with like where the line is crossed, but I would suggest that two homosexual individuals that are about to get married will not be contacting a cake baker who doesn't like homosexuals. There are plenty of cake bakers. I don't think they want to do business with them.
True.
So, I don't think that this should have been protected. I completely disagree with their decision. Sex needs to be protected. I believe it should be a fundamental right. So you should be able to go, and if you want to be in business, then you're in business. If you don't want to be in business, don't be in business. If you don't want to make cakes for gay people, don't make cakes.
All right, let's go to Marlene. Oh, we're getting some action now. Marlene, what do you think about this case? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but this is a case I think that the Supreme Court should not even have heard. First of all, the last time I checked, money is green. And I'm not sure that all the businesses are really that in tune to where it comes from as long as they make it. So I'm saying that this is probably a case that could probably have just settled itself. And if you don't want to make a cake or do a website for somebody, then don't do it. And you don't always have to have a good excuse. Just say no. And that's my opinion. And I have plenty of opinions, but I try not to judge. And I think that's what happened. Well, there are judges, so I guess that's what happened in this particular issue.
All right, let's look at this question, and then we're going to go around and let y'all have some comments about this, about the subject that we're on. Turner Joy says, if you were pulled into a gas station and out of gas, during the gas station's operating hours, could the white gas station owner deny selling gas to me, him, because I am black? I disagree with Oren. Oren, go ahead, respond. What are your thoughts on that question that we just showed from Turner Joy? Go ahead, Oren.
Okay, so put the question back up and read it. If you reported to a gas station was out of gas during the gas station to the white gas station. Yes, he could if he wanted to. I mean, like I said, for me, a person can choose to do what they want to do. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I understand, and I like the fact that Aaron and we have a lot of highly educated people here tonight that can be able to quote a lot of the things that support everything, right? But I'm just, me, I it's funny, I'm going to say playing devil's advocate as a Christian man, but my point of it is, at the end of the day, I'm just saying one can choose to say no and or yes to what they want to. We know that there are laws that support one thing over another. I'm just stating from the standpoint of, if I happen to pull into a gas station, and as a man of color, and if I need gas and I'm out of gas, and if a white store owner says, I don't want to serve you gas, or whatever the case may be, for me, my first thought isn't going to the fact that he doesn't want to because I'm black. That's just me, right? So if it's that I'm stuck at the moment, we live in a day and time, we have cell phones, I can call somebody to come bring me a gas tank, whatever the case, a gas can, whatever the case may be. I'm not moved by that, but I'm so interested in continuously hearing what the panel has to say about it. I just happen to stand on the outside of it. Doesn't bother me one way or another.
All right. Now, doing a lot of these comments and questions, I saw some of this. I saw a couple of you raising your hand. You want to chime in? Charlie, was that your hand? Go ahead, Charlie.
How do feelings and emotions?
and it's good to be passionate. It's good to be passionate about these things. Now,
it is.
We determined long ago that these are places of public accommodation. I learned something new every day, and I did not keep the perspective that a website is a place of public accommodation. Aaron, thank you for that. I'm a little rusty on my case law. But, anywhere you receive a service, a hotel room, a restaurant, a bar, a gas station, the government and local, state, and federal governments have laws regarding the equal treatment of people when purchasing goods and services. And I think that that's there for a reason. You don't have to like me to sell me gas. You can call me an expletive, but you still have to turn on the pump and take my money. Kind of like with a website. I call you, I give you money. You can tell me, hey, I'm going to give your money to the religious right or focus on the family. If I bake your cake, do you still want to buy my cake? Buy a cake from me? You still have an opinion, but you have to offer and provide the service. And that's sometimes that's an ugly thing to say, but it's true. I can't deny somebody a hotel room because I don't like them. And that's my opinion.
All right. Aaron, your hand's up. Go ahead.
I just want to let you know that my friends are counseling on my composure. I'm trying my best.
Wait a minute, your friends are what on your composure? They're what?
They're like, Aaron, just okay.
Okay.
My one amazing friend suggested, what if Google tomorrow says we don't like black people? Aaron, what if you're in, and I'm going to call it, what if you're in Perry County, Pennsylvania, and all of the gas stations do not want to service you? And it's the Ku Klux Klan territory. And who are you going to call to bring you a gas can?
Mm-hmm. Aaron,
the worldly experience, apologies, that you are displaying is not there. I would like you to start thinking about what could happen in the broader picture. It doesn't matter if you just like you.
Consider this, where we just met tonight, right? And I've had a slew of experiences to where I've been discriminated against, so to speak. A whole lot of different experiences that have brought me to a place. And like I said, as a Christian man, I choose to have a heart of forgiveness. Right now, I understand that a lot of times people, still feel as though that we're dealing with such systematic racism, discrimination. I disagree a lot of times. I think that in life we're going to always have things that we're up against that don't move in our favor, right? But I think that if we just continue to grow, to continue to, as you said, I think somebody here said, to educate ourselves, become more knowledgeable. And for me, I'm big on not letting your emotions drive you, not letting your feelings be what you allow to be what leads you. And for me, I always take it to my Heavenly Father and I pray about it in regards to how I'm to feel. I let the Holy Spirit move me and lead me into how it is that I would respond and feel. So to some of what you were saying, I've been in many, many experiences with people that hate people who look like me. And I've also been able to be someone that has allowed them to see that I'm okay with you not liking me. I'm going to still love you with the love of Jesus. And to let you know something, I've had more experiences where they've even said to me, Oren, I don't even know why I'm talking to you. I've been raised to hate you, but you've changed something in me. So for me, when it comes to a lot of what we're talking about here tonight, I just choose to say, like I said, I'm not moved by a lot of it. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes from a lot of it. But I see so much emotion here tonight, especially from you, Aaron. So it's a beautiful night to have such different opinions here. But I think one major important thing is to realize this: we do not have to agree, right? We do not have to feel as though that we hold the key of education and understanding that others have to get to a place of saying, okay, I see where you're coming from, so I want to agree with you and move with you. It's okay to disagree. So I totally understand what you're saying, but I stand firm on where I am.
Let's do this. Let's
Yeah,
do this.
sure.
First, I want to send a message out to our audience. We got one question in from Turner Joy. I've actually received 3 questions via text from folks that are watching the show, but they said, I don't want to go on because, check this out, I don't want my name to appear on the screen. Right? So I texted one person back and I said, why? And the answer was, because I'm afraid my boss might see me. And I go, are you working now? No? Then why do you care what your boss sees? Well, I don't want my boss to know my real feelings. So now you see where this is where we are right now, that there are folks who won't say things, that won't ask questions, simply because they're afraid of who knows what they really think. The other person said, I never talk about religion and politics at work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's what's interesting. That person is a pastor of a church. So here we have a pastor, and he does have a job with the state. Okay, state of Maryland. So okay. So I just wanted you to know some of the things that are going on in the background as we're having this discussion. Now, I want to just ask one more question on this subject. Then we're going to move on to student loans, and it's a I think, yes, in law school you call them hypotheticals, like the what if. So we don't know, but I'll just throw it out there. All right. And Marlene, we're going to go to you first on this one. Marlene, if you went to a hotel and they said to you, we don't want blacks to stay here, we're not going to give you a room because you're black, what are your feelings? What are your thoughts? And what would you do?
I would leave. I would be, I think I'd be afraid to stay somewhere where I wasn't wanted. And unfortunately, I integrated schools in the when they first integrated schools. So you have a tendency to get complacent and you don't realize that things are still happening. And my first reality check was when my son brought a brand new black shiny car and put gold mags on it, even though he worked. And he would, here in Harford County, used to get stopped maybe 2 to 3 times a week. So that was my first awakening. I got complacent again until my 15-year-old grandson with a full beard and mustache took him to Walmart a couple times, and the security guard brought him back to me because he just assumed he was there stealing. So even though we have the right and legally we can do certain things, I think that the bottom line is I wouldn't. I'd have to go, I guess, sleep in the car. I wouldn't. That's just so uncomfortable for me. It's a line that I don't cross.
Okay. Aaron, if you went to a hotel and they said to you, we don't let white ladies stay here, What are you gonna do? What are you gonna feel? What are you gonna think?
I'm going to sue him.
You're gonna sue them.
Um, so I'm more of I'm a feisty woman and a nasty woman, and one of those people that do have a lot of emotions, but my emotions are based on facts. So, with that being said, um, I would force them to do business with me as the law states, and I would do that
All right.
because I'm that type of person. But unfortunately, I would also be thinking about I have a daughter and I have pets at home, and what type of danger am I putting myself in doing those things? So that always has to be. It's unfortunate. It's why people get out their phones and videotape things instead of stepping in to help.
Okay. All right. Oren, what do you think? You need a hotel room. You go to the hotel and they say, "I'm sorry, you're black. You can't stay."
Like I think I mentioned before, I like what Marlene said, Miss Harvey said. I'm okay with taking my business elsewhere. You know me, man. I'm gonna, having had some of these experiences before. It's been some time. I've been able to have conversations with individuals that felt like they just did not want to deal with me because of the color of my skin. So I was okay with being inconvenienced if they were willing to have a conversation for us to be able to dialogue. If it was no more than me saying, okay, well, what is it about me that you would not like to have me stay here at your place? And then be able to have some type of form of conversation. And if they were willing to, if they weren't, they would just say, please, man, would you just sleep? I would say, no problem. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. Take care. And I would pray for them, man. But if they were willing to have a conversation with me, I would definitely stay and engage because I'm always looking forward to the opportunity for a teachable moment to be able to disciple. So that's me all day long from that angle. But
All right.
if I would take my business elsewhere, I don't need you to like. I kind of like what Erin said. For in regards to she's feisty. I can dig it. I can understand. Some people, they want to be accepted. They want to make sure that you do the right thing in the name of the law. I get it. I dig it from that standpoint. I just choose to look at it a little bit more like Miss Harvey. Not to say, Miss Harvey, you and I totally agree, but I like to look at it from that angle of where I say, hey, no problem. I could take my money and spend it elsewhere.
All right. Charlie, you go to check into a hotel and you and Chris are holding hands and they say, "Sorry, you can't stay here." What are you going to do? What are you going to say? What are you going to feel? What are you thinking?
Well, first we're going to read them for filth about their horrible lobby decor. And then when we're done with that, we're going to sue the crap out of them. But, the thing is for us, it varies by state on what we can sue for and whether we're protected. That's one of the things that's still a part of patchwork law in the U.S. in terms of public accommodation for LGBT people. And so, yeah, obviously we're going to be disheartened. We're going to talk to the hotel manager. And if it's a franchise property, we're going to complain to the franchise company. Not even, and it's not about money for us. It's about legal and proper recognition. Now, would we necessarily hold hands in public? Depends on where we're at. We have to think about that. But generally, when I worked at a front desk, I never really completely assumed two men traveling together were gay. But, I know one thing that, our honeymoon's going to be somewhere where we're going to be able to check in and not have any problems. But, and I'm not there to change minds. I'm so tired of having to change minds. I think a lot of us on this are just tired of having to explain or try to force people to think we're just like them. I am as boring as everybody else. This is vintage J.C. Penney.
Yes,
It is not a
you
designer.
are boring. I worked with you for like 6 years, 7 years. Yes, you are boring.
I'm very boring. I'm very, you know better than that. But I would love the day to come where, Chris and I holding in hands doesn't even get a second look in the middle of West Virginia. I would love that because I miss home. I loved growing up there. But, I realize different places have different attitudes.
Right.
And we've always erred on the side of not upsetting others. Mm-hmm. So our public displays of affection are always geared toward the appropriate setting. And are we going to offend anybody? I really just hate that. I hate to think about worrying about what other people think because, expressing my feelings for the person I love in public is something I don't take for granted. But and here comes the line: every day straight Pride Day. I mean, when you wear a wedding ring, that's your symbolic show of your love.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about your spouse and your children, that's a show of your love.
All right.
And when we do it, they're coming for us again.
Mm-hmm.
But we just wrapped up Pride Month, and I'm still proud, but I'm also vigilant about discrimination and being safe. Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to student loan forgiveness. The court said, hey, Mr. President Joe Biden, you don't have the authority to do this. Oren, let's go to you first. We're going to go Oren, Aaron, Charlie,
pass it to
Marlene.
someone else first. If you
No,
don't mind.
we're on you first. It's my show. You can't somebody else first. It don't work this way. You have your own show, right? Called, what's the name of your show? I can't even.
Well, it was growing on camera.
Growing on camera, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
so
indeed.
right now you're first. Go ahead. What do you think?
So this is the reason I asked you if you could pass it to someone else first, so that I could have a little bit more time to have whatever it is that I'm consuming from the question be able to be presented. I don't really have anything off top, so that's the only reason why I would ask. I would hate to waste our time to sit and try to ramble over what my thought is off top.
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
So President Biden says, I'm gonna forgive $10,000 in student loan debt, and and that's what he did. And 2 states said he didn't have the right to do that.
Okay.
That's basically what this comes down to.
So the fact that, and you can refresh my mind, this is the only one I'm very much just kind of becoming a little bit more aware of today. Student loans where we were in a position to have them being forgiven as of lately, and now it's omitted. Is that am I understanding that?
As of right now, yeah, they're basically
right
as of right now, yeah. Do you think the court got that one right?
Like I said, man, I'm sticking to the script tonight. I'm good with it. I mean, look, put it to you like this. When I went to school back in the day, it's been some years. I went on tuition waiver. Thank the Lord for my mother working at the university I went to, so I didn't have to get any loans. But I later went back to school to work toward getting my master's in Christian leadership. So I have some student loans, right? So I was thinking about it when it came to this. I said, are these loans going to be able to be wiped away? But to be honest with you, I made the decision to go to school. I made the decision to get student loans. It's my responsibility to pay those loans. If they're able to be forgiven, awesome, great. If not, cool, no problem. And I know there are a lot of people that go to school and they go to get degrees at schools to where they spend a boatload of money, so to speak. So it could be of benefit to them. But I think at the end of the day, the angle that I'll come from is this: we make a decision to go to school, right? If it's that we have to get loans to be able to go, it's a responsibility of our own to take care of those. People well with 4 years before had to do it. So it's okay to have to continue to do it.
Right.
It would have been nice, but it's okay that it's not.
Okay. All right. Right on. Thank you, Oren. Let's go to Aaron.
You're going to be surprised at this one, but the president did not have the authority to do this. Congress holds the authority to tax and spend. This is not a precedent. And I'm in favor of keeping precedent like affirmative action and Roe versus Wade and law history that's been established for several years. So the Constitution of the United States established our separation of powers, and the president, unfortunately, does not have the power to decide that he's going to wipe away $20,000 of my own money. So I'm literally, this literally affects me. There's a whole bunch of different ways we could do it. Our Congress could pass a bill. We could pass a bill that ends the student loan predator lending, because student loans are predator lending. Oren, I would like you to study how student loans interest works and how they it's ugly. So that wasn't a factor back in the day. That's different now. So in any event, we need to find the correct avenue to fix our student loan problems. I love that President Biden tried to, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to concur with this SCOTUS on this one.
All right. Marlene.
Well, I guess I'm going off on a tangent. I just don't see why people should be in their 40s and 50s still paying back student loans. I don't know if it's something you can do as far as cutting the interest or anything. But I understand what President Biden wanted to do, and I think, even if he just cut part of the student loan, or somehow there's some way that you could maybe not encourage much interest. There used to be a time when people could work and pay their way through college. When I finished University of Baltimore, fortunately I owed $5, and that was for parking. So I'm saying there is a way to do it. And my boys and I, we sacrificed. I mean, we didn't have everything, but I got through it. But there's no reason for people to be 20 and 30 years paying student loans. So I guess that's where I come from, as opposed to how we pay it and whether it, should. But I think there should be a way you could cut some of the interest, some of the deficit somehow.
Hmm.
And that's my opinion.
So, do you think the court got it right, though?
I think the court got it wrong in the sense that maybe there's some modifications. Something could have been done so that it wasn't just no altogether, that we're not going to, subsidize those student loans.
All right. All right. Charlie, what do you got for us on this one? Charlie, we're
Can you hear me now?
we got you now.
Okay. So, I paid off my student loans. But when I graduated college, tuition for a semester at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia was $1,200.
Go herd, go herd, go herd.
And
Okay,
Randy
go ahead.
Moss. I went to college with Randy Moss. But the thing about it is the price of higher ed has grown exponentially, and it has outpaced, I think, to some degree, the usefulness of a college degree for many folks. Where, I mean, do you need to spend 60 grand a year to become a public school teacher? In theory, you shouldn't have to pay that. And that's not the fault of the learner that wants to do this. Student loans and Pell Grants and educational assistance programs, but from the government, have lifted people out of poverty and saved many people, including me. Now, in terms of decisions and stuff, I am going to agree with Aaron. This is a separation of powers issue, meaning this is something Congress would handle. Or, no, and what the Supreme Court could have done is maybe kicked it over to Congress, saying, hey, Congress, you need to talk about this. But they don't like to directly influence legislation. Though, to draw a parallel to that, when they struck down anti-gay marriage laws, states had to come up with standards and practices to follow those. Now, could the court say this debt is criminal? Yeah, because it is. And there are some very predatory lending practices. Like when you leave college, so many people are calling you to refi your student loans to a lower interest rate if there's one available. And the cap, I think mine was capped at 3%, back in 2005. And, but I have friends that are, 20 years out of college, and for whatever reason, their income-based repayment programs were ridiculous, to where they are basically still making interest payments. They're not making principal payments. And what I would love to see happen is either the Department of Education or some kind of cooperative where after a certain period, the interest stops accumulating.
Okay.
And now it's just we're servicing debt, and it's a loan and it's a debt and you have to pay it off. Now, that you think would be the responsible thing. After 7 years, we're going to stop with the interest. We're going to leave it there. And then the borrower should have to pay that. Now, I'm not one of those grumpy people that's going to say, well, yeah, you should have known what you're doing when you took out 60 grand in student loans. No. I mean, the passion of a youth to learn more and achieve more is something we don't want to stifle because of cash.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
right.
Sorry that I could go on.
All right. Now we're going to go to everyone for some closing statements. And I want to thank all of you for being with us, and thank you to our loan commenter Turner Joy, thank you for your questions and comments. And to the several people that have texted me saying next time I want to be on the show because I want to tell her a few things and I want to tell him a few things. To those two people, I will be calling you after the show. If you're still watching, I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'm telling everybody. One of the things we do here is we have civilized debate and reasonable conversation. This is not the place where we're going to come and yell and point fingers and that's not what we do on this show. So if you're that person and I'm not going to open the screen up because then you'd see their names. And some of you know the people that are doing this. If I were to tell you their names, you know them. Okay, so I'm not going to drop any names, but I'm just telling you that's not what we do here on this show. All right. Another person said you should call someone from WBAL, you should call someone from Fox Baltimore and have them on the show. The purpose of the show is to hear from people who aren't celebrities. That's another thing that we do to give everyone an opportunity to express their opinions here. So that's all I'm going to rant about. You can take it out at single shot. I'm done ranting now. Thank you, our producer Jay in the background. But this is for regular folks to get a chance to talk about what's on their mind on things like this. We have about 4 minutes to go. I'm going to give everyone 1 minute. If you're watching and you still have a comment, go ahead and place it in the chat. I'll make sure that we get a chance to show it. Closing comments from everyone on any of the subjects that we just talked about here. Who wants to go first? The first hand I see is the one we're going to go with. And all hands are down. Oren, Oren, you're first, and then we'll go to Aaron second. Oren, first of all, thank you for being here on the show. We appreciate your hearing your opinion. Go ahead, Oren.
Thank you for having me. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the panel for allowing me to be a part of tonight's discussion. One thing you just mentioned, Leon, in regards to a regular conversation with regular people. So that's why I initially said, I'm just a regular guy, on a journey. I'm not trying to come with anything that it is that I have experienced in regards to how educated, how knowledgeable I am. I just wanted to be able to speak from my heart, speak from what came to my mind, as you heard me say earlier, speak from in regards to how the Holy Spirit would lead me. So just want to say thank you to all of the panelists tonight. I look forward to us getting a chance to do this again at a later date with some other great topics. But to you, Leon, thank you for bringing us on, man. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you. Let's go to Aaron. And for those that are saying great discussion and you enjoyed watching, make sure you like us on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to that. Do we have a subscribe ding? I don't know if we have one of those, but just get the ding. Go ahead and subscribe. So then the next time we do a show, you'll get an announcement about it. Or if you'd like to be on the show the next time, send me an email. The email address is Leon at the Leon Thomas Group. Aaron, you're up.
I just want to say thank you for having me on this show. Yes, I'm very passionate. I hope that makes me a great attorney here after I pass the bar at the end of this month. I appreciate everyone's opinions. I really, really hope that I will leave with the thoughts that I really want SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, to stop doing Congress's job. And I want Congress to do their job. And I want the president to do his job. But I also want the American people to do their job, and that's to educate themselves and not speak on matters that they know nothing about or that they're very uninformed about. Because when people speak on matters that they're ill-informed about, they cause other people to make very ill-informed decisions. So I hope everyone goes to law school. I hope everyone gets a whole bunch of student loans. My student loans are $200,000, and I would go and get another $200,000 to do it again. So please educate yourself every day. Please love your higher spirit. Please love yourself. Please love others and make it the world that you want it to be. And I really have the hope that everyone out there really just wants to create love, peace, and harmony And it's really unfortunate that we have to force people to do that. So that's
All
it.
right. All right. Thank you, Aaron. Charlie, Marlene, I haven't seen a hand. Who wants to go next?
Okay.
Marlene, you're up. The floor is yours.
I'll go next. I appreciate the opportunity to allow me to vent, to for get a chance to not yell at the TV and people who can't hear me anyway. And like I said, I appreciate this opportunity. And like Aaron, I hope that people would just enlarge your territory, just read a little bit, just expose yourself to other people, to other situations, to other things that just allow all of us, we just need to grow just a little bit and the world would be a better place. So thank you for tonight.
All right, Marlene, thank you. Thank you for being with us. And Charlie, you're up.
First, I want to thank you for allowing me to express my opinions in what I do believe to be a fun and safe forum. I believe that this conversation and these dialogues are important for not only us to know one another, but to advance the nation as a whole. Tomorrow is the very reason we celebrate things like this: the First Amendment, the right to a free country. That's what the July 4th celebration is all about, our independence. I do think, the court has given us, for lack of a better term, a very tumultuous year. Um, you know, I worry as a gay man about the future of Obergefell Hodges. I worry, for my for friends that are persons of color about Title IX and racial bias, and women's health rights. I think that the court has made some very, very tough decisions on some very hot button issues, and they're definitely wedge issues. And I ask myself, if they've come after gays, persons of color, and women, who's left and who's next? And I think that unfortunately, I don't want us to get to the point where we're at a court pack, but I think that there's room for ideological balance and discussion around that. Now, I hope one day maybe I could go to law school, Marlene. It was always a dream of mine that I had to defer. But I think this forum has to continue, and also we can all agree to disagree and still live on in a polite society. But I think we have to actively create that, and we don't do that enough. And I do agree too, if people are going to have an opinion on an issue, at least read up on it, read the basics, find out the facts that and then form your opinion. Like knee-jerk reactions regarding websites, knee-jerk reactions regarding affirmative action. Now, I don't agree with the opinions that were expressed by the court, but I think that people as a society as a whole, we have a great deal of learning to do, and I think it's time Americans start taking civics lessons seriously. Thank you.
All right. And thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to our viewers. Thank you for those that are sending me these crazy text messages. I appreciate it. Charlie Rouse, thank you for being with us. Aaron Lysak, thank you for being with us. Good luck on the bar. Marlene, thank you for being with us. Oren, thank you for being with us. I have valuable friendships with all of you, and I want you to know that I appreciate you so much. I wish we could see each other more, talk more, but Oren, I talk to you a lot, but everybody else, I wish we could actually hang out more and see each other more. Thank you so much for being here. I'd like to thank our producer, Dr. Jay Rasenko, in the background. Jay, come on screen and give us a wave. I don't want you to say anything because I know you're just a behind the scenes guy, and I know you're going to yell at me later for even asking you to come on the screen just to wave your hand. So there you go. I have to take my beating from you later. Thank you, everyone, for watching Real Thoughts and Conversations. We're going to do this show more often because based on the number of people that we had watching, the comments that we received, and the text messages that I got, it appears that folks want this show, and we're going to give the people what they want. I'm Leon Thomas. Thanks for watching Real Thoughts and Conversations. Here we go.